I see my friends with cancer, and it's really hard. That little girl there, she has cancer. See this one right here? I just found out he has bone cancer. This one right here, the woman died with cancer. Whose is this one? She had 5 miscarriages trying to just have 1 kid. The 2 people that lived here, they died with cancer. The lady lived here died with cancer. I myself, I've had cancer 3 times. And it's the type that they say is caused by PCBs. I've lived by a toxic site all my life.
In a community of 251 people, 86 of them have either died of cancer or started the fight against cancer in the past 2 years. And that's enough to make anyone raise their eyebrows.
How can you explain when people die of cancer down here in this little old town? What else? There's got to be something. That's a good place to start, I'd say, Schaefer Equipment Company. People getting cancer, dying. There's been 80 deaths here in close to 3 years, all linked to cancer. They need to get these people out of here and do something. I mean, they should have did it in the 80s.
Folks started fighting Schaefer Equipment Company in the 80s, and these are mostly the same health problems going on in Minden now that were going on a much smaller scale in the past. Whenever it was first discovered, how toxic this was. Schaefer Equipment Company took transformers and capacitors from around the country, and they would refurbish them. It usually involved the old PCBs being dumped out and new PCBs being replaced.
PCB is a man-made organic compound. They're used as a lubricant in some hydraulic equipment. And so a lot of the transformers had the liquid surrounding them because it kept the transformer cool. Unfortunately, PCBs are possible carcinogens. And plus they also affect the different systems of the body, like the immune systems and the endocrine systems and reproductive systems of the body.
We have seen increased incidence of breast cancers, brain tumors. We have seen lymphomas, which is rare otherwise. And we are seeing aggressive type of lymphomas. Up to 30% of the population has some form of malignancy, which is a very high incidence.
And so the companies continue to make chemicals before they realize exactly what it is that's chemicals to people's bodies.
The PCBs travel through the soil. The main way that they're spread is through erosion of sediments, or in the case of a flood, the sediments are just kind of deposited all over the sides of the creek, which is people's yards. And people can become exposed to PCBs by touching them, by inhaling any of them.
There was never any signs on the Schaefer site stating that no trespassing, toxic waste, danger, anything that would state that it was a dangerous area to not go in there.
It was being told across the country that, well, PCBs are really toxic. People were like, well, this stuff that's everywhere here?
And then once you have the PCBs in your body, they're there forever. And if you breastfeed, you pass them down to your children. And this goes on for at least 7 generations.
I truly believe that every illness, cancer, is directly related to the Schaefer site. They say that they've removed all the chemicals, but I don't believe that.
It is impossible to clean this highly contaminated area because of the half-life of this chemical is in hundreds of years. You cannot clean it up.
I've got a vitamin deficiency now, anemia, celiac disease, and I've also miscarried 1 child myself. I have 1 child now. I just have a real hard time with my health problems. It's tough.
I think that people really just want to be in control of their living environment and their health. They want a place to live that's not toxic, which is so simple and fundamental.
It's sad, but there's a lot of places around in West Virginia that have been domed sacrifice zones.
So look at this shit. You can see this is obviously contaminated. You can see it has this oily petroleum substance, and then also the metals, the sludge. That's just fracking waste right there.
When you talk about injection wells, they're fracking for oil and gas. So the backflow is going to contain oils and gases, and then they take it and they re-inject it into the underground system. And a lot of those oils and gases are hazardous, volatile organic compounds.
Experts tested upstream, didn't find any of the contaminants from fracking, and then downstream they found the contaminants from fracking in this water.
Having an injection well this close to the house, it has changed our lives. We don't know exactly what they're putting in the water. We just know that we have no other options for water. My nephew especially got him real bad. We took him to the doctor and asked the doctor their opinion of it. The only thing that they would say was that it was some form of chemical burn. The kids were taking showers, so they weren't exposed to the water as long as he was. He always took baths. So we figured that's why he got the worst of the burns. This was their playhouse at one point in time. It was going to be. We were taking the logs that had fallen across the creek, trying to clean the creek up. Unfortunately, we found out that there's so much pollution. We don't want the kids to play anywhere near the creek.
We actually don't have a single fracking well in Fayette County. Yeah, we're just getting the waste, just getting the dump. You know, I bet that Sandra never imagined that she would ever have to take her kids to another person's place to take a bath. But I'd do the same thing if my babies were having chemical burns.
You missed. Dork.
Remember how we went to the headwaters of Wolf Creek, the radioactive materials and the films and the man-made chemicals? This here is where Wolf Creek dumps into the New River. It's immediately upstream of where the tourists go after they're done with their rafting trip. It's just so innocent looking. You can see how it's easy to ignore the contamination.
What happened is a lesson that it's not only the Flint, Michigan. There are many communities have been neglected. And the common denominator is the poor get the shaft.
It's because they're the place of least resistance, because they are the most vulnerable. And it's not just here in West Virginia, it's a lot of places across the country.
I don't want to leave this to my grandkids. Mm-mm. For them to have cancer? No.
I want to look at the future, but when you look and you see everybody that's sick and or dying, you try to make the best of it. And some days, I mean, you're stressed to the level you can't function. It's like you're breathing, but it's almost like somebody's got a hold of you, and it's just, they're restricting your air.
Not only will the people go extinct in Minden, but I fear that the history of the PCB contamination in Minden will be swept under the rug, just like that site out there, just unmarked, unlabeled. No one will know that this is a mass grave site of a community that was once a bustling coal town that loved each other.